So, first we go through the Dhamma involved in this discourse, and then we go through the handouts where I have done verbatim translation, trilinear. It will be very easy for people to follow the Pali and English. So, however, I like to match the Pali word with English words. In order, even now you can do it by yourself without much help. So, for to make it easy, I did this trilinear translation. In fact, it is the same as the Discourse translated into English by Bhikkhu Bodhi. You can see this discourse in Majjhima Nikaya, Sutta number 9. In this discourse is an explanation of dependent origination combined with four foundations, four noble truths. Four noble truths and dependent origination, Venerable Sariputra combined together. Dependent origination has 12 steps, but in this discourse there are 16 steps. Venerable Sariputra had added 4 more steps into dependent origination. Is there anybody who does not know who Sariputra is? Everybody knows Sariputra?
I don't.
Oh, you have not met him?
Maybe, but I didn't know his name.
Sariputra is one of the 2 chief disciples of the Buddha. And the Buddha himself has declared him to be the wisest of all the wise monks. And therefore, Sariputra, when Buddha delivers a brief sermon, Venerable Sariputra explains in detail. There are several such discourses. One is this. Another similar one is Satya Vibhanga Sutta, and several discourses. Here, while the Buddha still was alive in Savatthi, Venerable Sariputra also was living in the vicinity in a kuti. And then many monks came from faraway places to see the Buddha and Sariputra. Buddha also had great respect for Sariputra. When some monks come to see the Buddha, and when they are leaving, then the Buddha asks, "Have you seen Sariputra?" They said, no, you must see Sariputra before you go. Because Sariputra could give special advice to monks. I have tremendous respect for Sariputra. We can talk about him later on. This is not the discussion on Venerable Sariputra. I simply want to mention who he was. Just a brief introduction. So when these monks came and saw Venerable Sariputra addressed these monks and said, friends, Venerable Sariputra says, friends, bhikkhus, and they replied, friend, they replied. Then Venerable Sariputra said, one of right view is said, friends, in what way is a noble disciple one of right view? Whose view is straight, who has unwavering confidence in the Dhamma and has arrived at this true Dhamma. What is right view? Where we find right view in the Buddha's teaching? Noble Eightfold Path. Noble Eightfold Path begins with right view. Pali word is SammaDitthi. Ditthi is view. When translated literally, it is view. But Ditthi, I would rather like to use the word understanding, because Ditthi can be changed from person to person. Ditthi, view. View has a limited connotation. Understanding is wider. Even one who attains a full stream entry is called Ditthipata, one who attained the understanding, not the view. One who has attained the stream entry called Ditthipata. So, this is what I feel comfortable using understanding. Right understanding. Number one of the Noble Eightfold Path. I hope everyone knows the other seven. Right understanding, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Anybody who is even little familiar of Buddhism knows these 8 steps, together called Noble Eightfold Path or Middle Path. This is the Buddha's middle path. So this middle path is called middle path because when the Buddha delivered the first sermon, he said there are 2 extremes. The indulgence in sensual pleasures, extreme indulgence in sensual pleasures, and extreme mortification of the body, called self-mortification. Avoiding these 2 extremes, he followed this middle path to attain liberation. This middle path, therefore, is not little bit of this evil and little bit good put together make a salad. Champo in Malay, they say champo. Not that kind of mixture is middle path. Middle path is avoiding all evil, avoiding all extreme torturing the body. Because those days there were ascetics who renounced the world. They avoided sensual pleasures and entered the monastic life. And then they began to torture their body, thinking that they can attain enlightenment by torturing the body. There are sects in India even today. There is a sect called Jain, which has 2 branches, Shvetambara and Digambara. Shvetambara sect monastics wear white clothes. Digambara sect wear directions. That is their clothes. Totally naked. Recently somebody saw many of them walking on the street in certain place, and both sides there are women sitting and paying respect. Hundreds of them are marching, even today. 2 weeks ago, somebody brought a video clip and showed me. So, India is a country of extremes. Anyway, so Buddha saw this, and therefore he wanted to avoid these two extremes. And when you avoid these extremes, then he wanted to find out different way. So this is the way he found out, discovered. One of them is understanding. They all had all type of views. He was tired of views. In Sutta Nipata he said, Sanya viratasana tanti ganta, Panya viratasana tanti moha, Sanyancha dittincha ye aggahesun te ghattayanta vicharancha loke. Sanya viratasana santi ganta. When one is free of various type of perceptions or views, Panya viratasana santi moha. Those who have all kind of views and those who are those who are free from all kind of views, those who are liberated through wisdom, live in peace. Those who hold to views and have confusion, they live quarreling with each other. They quarrel according to their views. And therefore Buddha wanted to avoid all the views and found out this middle path. So the word middle path is said, then Sariputra asked, friends, what is the middle path? What you call understanding. Understanding. Ditthi. SammaDitthi, right understanding. So these monks said, indeed, friend, we would come from far away to learn from the Venerable Sariputra the meaning of this statement. It would be good if the Venerable Sariputra would explain the meaning of this statement. Having heard it from him, the bhikkhus will remember it. When they said this, Venerable Sariputra began to explain. We came from faraway places to learn this from you, friend. Therefore, please explain this to us. Then Venerable Sariputra said, then friends, listen and attend closely to what I shall say. Yes, friend, the bhikkhu said. Then, out of these 16 steps, the first step is explaining what is wholesome, unwholesome, what is unwholesome. So, when friends, a noble disciple understands the unwholesome as at the root and the root of unwholesome, the wholesome and the root of wholesome, in that way he is one of right view, whose view is straight, who has unwavering confidence in the Dhamma and has arrived at this true Dhamma. In this paragraph, Venerable Sariputra said, as you can see it very clearly, noble disciple is a disciple of the Buddha who has awareness of the Dhamma and who cares for the noble one, who wants to associate with the noble ones, who is practicing noble Dhamma. Such a person is called noble disciple. In Pali, Arya Savaka. Arya Savaka and Puthujjana. Puthujjana is one who does not care for the noble ones, does not care for noble teaching, does not learn the noble Dhamma, does not live in accordance with the noble Dhamma, is called Puthujjana. One who is interested in noble teaching, learn the noble teaching, associate with noble people, and want to liberate oneself from suffering by following noble teaching. Such a person is called noble disciple. Noble disciple of whom? Noble disciple of the Buddha. And such a person understands what is wrong and what is the root of wrong. Whatever wrong things. And understand what is right and the root of what is right. There is no personal, individual, provincial right or personal, individual, provincial wrong. It must be universal. Something to be right, it must be universal. And unwholesome as unwholesome, the root of unwholesome, and what is wholesome and root of what is wholesome. Now, then in that, you see, only 4 things this person has to know. According to this teaching, 4 things. To have right understanding. What are the 4 things? To know what is wrong, unwholesome, and the root of unwholesome. What is wholesome and the root of wholesome. In other places, you may have come across the way how right understanding is defined. In some other places, it's defined in a certain way, different way, like understanding the 4 noble truths is right understanding. Dukkha jnanam, dukkha samudaya jnanam, dukkha nirodha jnanam, dukkha nirodhagamini patipadaya jnanam, SammaDitthi in some places. That is how it is explained in Satya Sutta, also delivered by the same Venerable monk. But for this purpose, he selected another aspect of right understanding, simpler than the other one, because the other one is coming later on, and the other definition is mixed with the whole dependent origination. Okay, what is and what friend is unwholesome? What is the root of unwholesome? What is the wholesome? What is the root of unwholesome? Now, there are 10 unwholesome things and 3 unwholesome roots. And there are 10 wholesome things and root of wholesome things. Now these 10 traditional Theravada Buddhists know them by heart, but sometimes they don't. I'm not going to ask any of the traditional Theravada Buddhist people, few of them are here, in order not to embarrass them. I'm not going to ask. These 10 unwholesome, bodily unwholesome, 3 bodily unwholesome, 4 verbal unwholesome, 3 mental unwholesome. This is how we get 10 unwholesome. And 3 roots of unwholesome. Also they know very well. Now let us go through the list when the Sariputra has given there here, since you have the handout also. Number 1 of this is killing living being is unwholesome. Now, killing living being is unwholesome. Why it is unwholesome? Because it is very obvious when every living being wants to live. Every living being wants to live. No living being wants to die. And therefore, if we deprive that living being of its life, that is wrong. What right do we have to take someone else's life? What right? Nobody has any right to take someone else's life. Therefore it is wrong. Very simple. And also wrong because we inflict suffering, inflict upon that suffering of that being, and inflict suffering upon ourselves. Therefore it is wrong. Morally it is wrong, ethically it is wrong. I don't want to get into a long debate on this subject because for some people they can come up with many tangible reasons. But reasoning, there is no acceptable, morally, ethically acceptable reason that anybody can give to justify killing. Okay. Taking what is not given is unwholesome. That is, stealing is unwholesome. Taking what is not given is a very good definition of stealing. Then, misconduct in sensual pleasures is unwholesome. misconduct in sensual pleasures means abusing eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body and mind. Abusing is unwholesome. Why unwholesome? When we abuse these things, we inflict suffering upon ourselves. As you know, Buddha's path is to get rid of suffering, be free from suffering. And therefore, if whatever we do to inflict suffering is wrong. If anybody likes to be free from suffering, that person must follow a path that helps the person to be free from suffering. While telling that I want to be free from suffering, if I do something to inflict suffering upon myself, I am not doing something right, I am doing something wrong. Then, these are called three bodily unwholesome things. What are the three? Killing, stealing, and abusing senses. Three. Then verbal. Number one, false speech is unwholesome. Malicious speech is unwholesome. Harsh speech is unwholesome. Gossip is unwholesome. Now, false speech is unwholesome because that is not leading to liberation from suffering. It leads to get into suffering. Remember why it is called unwholesome? Anything we do to inflict suffering upon ourselves or others is wrong because our purpose is to liberate from suffering. Very simple. Therefore, false speech is unwholesome. Malicious speech is unwholesome. Actually, this malicious speech is the Pali word is pesunya. Pesunya. The precept is pisunavacha. Pisunavacha. Pisunavacha means divisive talk. You are dividing the united. Two people are very friendly and somebody with intention is malicious. We may be with the malicious intention. The person goes to this person and talked about this person. And these two are friends. Suppose these two are friends. And I will be the culprit. I go to him and tell him, you know, you think this so-and-so is your friend, but it's okay, but you don't know what he tells you about you. You know, he said that you have cheated somebody. This. Then you think, oh yeah? You don't believe it because you are so thick friends. But I come again and again and again. Then one day you think, yeah, he may be true. Right? How can he can do that to me? We are so good friends. Then I poison your mind. Then you say, you know, I have done such and such and such a thing to him. I I thought he was a sincere man. But however, he has killed so and so. But keep it secret, don't tell him. Don't tell him. So I go to him and tell him, so and so is your friend? Yes, yes. Ah, is it true that you killed such and such? What? No, he told me. I don't know. I don't believe that. Is it? So somehow I completely poison the minds of both of them and separate destroy their friendship. That kind of talk is called divisive talk. In Pali word is very clear. Pe sunya. Pe means priya. Priya means friendly. Priya means friendly. The word, the pe comes from the root priya. Therefore, the Pali word is pe sunya, destroying the friendship. By poisoning each other's mind, I destroy your friendship. That's called pe sunya. That is an unwholesome speech. Then, harsh speech, naturally. Harsh speech can be directly harsh or intentionally harsh. You may use very sweet words, but in this sweet word there is poison. Insulting, the words are very beautiful, but there is an insult in it. So there are two ways of harsh speech. One is direct, other is indirect, hidden. That is unwholesome. Unwholesome because it inflicts suffering, discomfort, embarrassment to both. Then fourth is gossip, is unwholesome. Gossip is just wasting time, especially any time. Today it is more important. This is the time that people do the time management. When you do time management, gossip is taking that time away. You cannot manage your time because you can get carried away with gossip. And therefore it is unwholesome, not productive. It is unproductive. So how many are in word? 4. Telling lies, divisive talk, harsh speech and gossip. All these...
Bhante, these 3 bodily and 4 verbal, so you're talking about the malicious speech and the harsh speech, so it's not proper to think about killing and stealing. Like you're killing someone's friendship, you're stealing someone's trust. So those would go more in the bodily, but they're not, because you're using words, but you're sort of killing and stealing with words.
That comes under harsh speech, right?
What? I said killing, stealing and sensual misconduct is physical.
Those are only physical.
Physical.
So,
Then lying, malicious speech, harsh speech and gossip is verbal. So what is your question?
I think what she's saying is if you destroy the friendship by doing
Right.
for whatever speech, malicious speech, that's like killing a friendship.
Now, that is not physical. Physical means you have to do it yourself, but this is the result. Destroying the friendship is the result. But you use words to destroy that.
you use words and then you use your mind to create the words.
Right. For that we have roots. We come to that roots. Now, when we say malicious speech, harsh speech, false speech, and then gossip and so forth, this can be direct, this can be email, Facebook,
Or text.
Twitter. There are various ways of doing this. As technology develops in future, we don't know. By even something else they may invent to do this. Very famous thing is, I don't think you get upset when I say something very straight. Comedians, what do?
They make fun of people.
That is gossip. Gossip.
But it's their profession, Bhante.
Professional is worse.
They get paid for doing that.
Yeah. So that is why it is very bad. It's a worse. So in this sensual pleasure oriented world, all kind of things can be made into commercial. So anyway, what we are talking about is what is wholesome, what is unwholesome. Now, then mental covetousness is unwholesome, ill will is unwholesome, wrong view is unwholesome. These are the three mental unwholesome things. Now, covetousness is greedy for what somebody else has. Somebody else has something very valuable, meaningful. I would covet, I on that again and again and thinking, I wish I have this. I wish I have this. That is covetousness. The opposite of that, we are going to talk about opposite later on. Now, then ill will. We all understand it is unwholesome. It is unwholesome for the person who has ill will. Yeah?
Is it possible for there to be a wholesome version of covetousness, or is that something else? Like, if you see something that someone has, and not that you want it from them, but you want to develop that, like if it's a quality, for example, and you want to develop that in yourself, but that's not covetousness. That's more
this is like this, suppose somebody has a quality, very, very wonderful qualities, and you wish to have those qualities in you. That is a wholesome covetousness. That is called you become envious of that person's good qualities and you think, I wish I have those qualities. That would be an encouragement for you to cultivate those qualities. Because the noble things are wholesome. Those qualities that you saw in somebody else is admirable, meaningful, wholesome, and you also want to be, that intention itself is a very wholesome intention.
I have a question, Bhanteji. As far as the covetousness, in this hyper-competitive world, what if two people are competing for the same thing? Is it considered covetousness?
Yeah.
It is.
It actually is greed. Because that thing is not possessed by any particular being, any particular person. The opportunity or job is there, but both are trying to get that job. That is not covetousness because that particular job doesn't belong to anybody. What we are talking in covetousness is something that somebody already has. Now, ill will is, then last is wrong view is unwholesome. What is the wrong view? Wrong view is you say what is right is wrong, what is wrong is right. So you put things ups and down. And that's a wrong view. Another wrong view is you swear something that exists which in reality does not exist. You say something exists, in reality it does not exist. And you believe in that. That is wrong view. Now, these are the 10 unwholesome things. Before we go to the next section, I want to review these 10 so that everybody will remember. When they go home, 10 unwholesome things are at their fingertips. Everybody knows. What are the 10 unwholesome? 4 physical. 3 physical, 4 verbal, and 3 mental. What are the 4, 3 physical? Killing, stealing, sensual misconduct. 3. 4 verbal, false speech, malicious speech, harsh speech, and gossip. What are the mental 3? Ill will, wrong view. Ill will, covetousness, and wrong view. Okay. And then, and what is the root of the unwholesome? Root of unwholesome is greed is the root of the unwholesome. Hate is the root of the unwholesome. Delusion is the root of unwholesome. All these wrong physical, verbal, mental things arise from greed, hatred and delusion.
Bhanteji, I mean, greed and hatred are pretty obvious, but can you expand a little bit on the delusion?
Delusion is a confusion, uncertainty, doubt with regard to making the distinction between right and wrong. Totally confused. And the person, sometimes people can get confused when certain issues arise. They don't know what they should do, what they could do. That is a temporary delusion. But the lasting, more profound, deep delusion is when they think by perpetuating sensual pleasures they can attain liberation. You keep enjoying until you get tired, then you will be liberated. Or that is, they sometimes think, this is the only life we have. Eat, drink, enjoy. This will never come again. So, enjoy. But they don't know, in that so-called enjoyment, poison of suffering is there. Because enjoyment doesn't come like air. And also it is not something permanent. It always changes. You forget the changing part of enjoyment. You forget it. Enjoyment or pleasure always have pain. You forget the pain and enjoy. One day you will come to a stage where you cannot enjoy. Your senses are weak. Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body and mind are weak. Then can you do the same thing? Is there any alternative? Have you done anything else to replace as a plan number B, plan B? You have only one plan, enjoyment. But when you cannot do that, do you have plan B? No. That way of thinking, that way of doing is coming from confusion, delusion.
Bhante, can you explain the difference then between delusion and ignorance?
Delusion and ignorance? Yeah, actually, also good question. Delusion is another name for ignorance. Yeah.
Also moho?
Huh?
But ignorance is not moho in Pali.
Yeah, ignorance is not mentioned here,
Yeah.
but ignorance is mentioned in this discourse at another place.
So synonymous.
Just be patient.
I think delusion is a state of mind of ignorance, while ignorance is the guess, the root, right? Like greed and hatred are states of mind.
Now, even ignorance is a state of mind, but ignorance is the sort of macrocosmic thing. Delusion is temporary. You get deluded. Ignorance is the major things. Always ignorance is there. When we do something unwholesome, ignorance shape or take shape of delusion. When you do something, we get deluded when we come to that particular state. But behind that delusion is ignorance.
So it's the root
Root.
of delusion.
Yeah. The root of even wholesome things. Ignorance is the root of even wholesome thing as unwholesome. We will discuss that later. Because wholesome, people expect getting something out of that wholesome things. Doing something with the intention of something very, very good, with the intention of getting wholesome benefit. Wholesome we do with the expectation of getting some wholesome benefit. And this perpetuates our life, from life to life, life to life, life to life. And that continuous perpetuation of life is not clear in the mind of the person who commits this wholesome thing. And therefore even in the wholesome, very deeply rooted underlying tendency is ignorance. Only when one goes beyond good and evil, then ignorance is eliminated. Only when one attains full enlightenment. Until then, ignorance is lurking. But from time to time, it produces its agent like delusion. Ignorance is one of the fetters. Delusion is not called a fetter. As a fetter, ignorance will be destroyed only when attained arahanthood. Delusion one can get rid of when one attains stream entry.
Now we keep hearing the word ignorance repeatedly, Bhante. Ignorance of what?
Ignorance of Four Noble Truths. Okay. Now we go to wholesome. What is wholesome? You see, our class time is 1 hour. But 1 hour, so 1/2 of the material I covered within 1 hour. Other half even did not touch. But anyway, let me mention this, and then we go to Pali. This very wholesome side is very easy to understand when we understood unwholesome side. What is wholesome? Abstaining from killing living beings is wholesome. Abstaining from taking what is not given is wholesome. Abstaining from misconduct in sensual pleasures is wholesome. abstaining from the speech is, false speech is wholesome, abstaining from malicious speech is wholesome, abstaining from harsh speech is wholesome, abstaining from gossip is wholesome, covetousness, abstaining from covetousness is wholesome, abstaining from non-ill will is wholesome, and right view is wholesome. This is called the wholesome. Now, the root of the wholesome is non-greed, non-hate and non-delusion is wholesome. So, okay. Then Venerable Sariputra, this is the very important conclusion. And what is the root of, when a noble disciple has thus understood the unwholesome and the root of unwholesome, the wholesome and the root of wholesome, he entirely abandons the underlying tendency to lust. He abolishes the underlying tendency to aversion. He extirpates the underlying tendency to view and conceit, I am. And by abandoning ignorance and arousing true knowledge, he here and now makes an end of suffering. You see, ending suffering is very easy, isn't it? Very easy. All you have to do is to understand what is unwholesome. What is the unwholesome? Understanding the root of unwholesome, understanding the wholesome, and understanding the root of wholesome, the wholesome. Now, if we do that, Venerable Sariputra said, then he entirely abandoned the underlying tendency to lust. And he abolishes the underlying tendency to aversion. He extirpates the underlying tendency to the view and conceit, I am. Now, that is the deep part of this section. When the thought of killing, I take one example, when the thought of killing arises in the mind, this thought arises because of my hatred, because of my greed, and because of my confusion. And therefore, my motive is, intention is to liberate myself from suffering. When I know by killing, I increase my suffering. So at that very moment, we insert another very important factor, that is mindfulness. When the mindfulness, we invite mindfulness at that time, and become mindful. Mindful of what? Mindful that I am impermanent. Mindful that I have suffering, anicca, dukkha. And mindful that there is no any permanent entity to do all these things permanently. And that mental state, when arises, the person think twice, stops, abandon it, and then develop more mindfulness to get rid of this greed, this hatred, this delusion. That is how the person becomes liberated from suffering. Get rid of I consciousness. Asmi mana. Asmi mana means measure, measuring. Measuring, whenever we want to measure something, we use foot ruler or tape measure or cup or weigh something to weigh. We have to use weighing scale and so forth. These are the things that we use to measure something. Similarly, I want to measure myself against you. I think my achievement, I compare my achievement with yours, and I measure. I have such and such an account, I have so many cars and so much lands and so much house, so many houses, so much investment and so forth and so on. I think, and then so and so has done such and such and such and such. So and so has such and such. So I use my achievement to measure, to compare your achievement. And that comparison is done, that tendency to compare ourselves with others is called I. I. The one letter word we use million times every day. Every day. We ask ourselves when we have a conversation, which word we use most? I. Why that? Because I am so important.
Bhante,
Yeah.
this reminds me of when you told me about the onion. It goes on and on because I is in the middle, and
Yeah.
it causes the suffering because it's an onion. It goes on and on
Yeah.
in the middle.
Yes. That onion we must remember. Onion.
Yeah. And I read somewhere I is for illness and V is for wellness.
I is for?
Illness, sick.
Huh?
V is wellness.
V is wellness.
I is illness.
That's true. But my simile is has more
Yeah, I know.
deep philosophical meaning. Onion. On and on with I in the middle. One on is ignorance, other on is greed. Between these are their child. I is the greed is the father, but greed is the mother, ignorance is the father, and the child is ego. Child is I.
Very nice.
This I doesn't have a gender. When I is born with X, between X and Y, I call I'm a boy. I'm a boy. If I is born between X and X, I call I'm a girl. But I doesn't have its own gender. So, gender is determined by where I is born. And therefore, that is very, very important word. Anyway, so that will be eliminated when we have this, when we understood these two, wholesome, the wholesome and the unwholesome. The root of wholesome and the root of unwholesome. Now let us go to Pali. SammaDitthi. Samma means, the discourse, title of the discourse is SammaDitthi.
Right,
Samma is
no,
right, correct, or noble. The opposite of this is miccha. Miccha. Now, evaṁ me sutaṁ ekam samayam bhagava savatyam viharati. Now, you can see the word for word translation just below that. Evaṁ is thus, me in me sutaṁ. Me is difficult to translate into English directly. So me means actually to me, my, or by me. So thus have heard by me. This has been heard by me. So, easy way to translate is, thus have I heard. I have heard. Ekam, one. Samayam, time, Bhagavad the Buddha. Savatyam, at Savatti, Viharati, lives. Now Viharati is present, single, third person, present, singular word, verb. But the present verb is used in the past sense. It should have been said vihari, lived. But this is sort of a Pali idiom. Present is used for the past. Jetavane Anathapindika Swarami. Jetavana is the park of Jeta, Jeta's grove. Anathapindika is the name of the man who donated the monastery. The meaning of Anathapindika, does anybody know? It's the name of a person, but this name has a meaning. most Indian names have meaning. Anatha means refugees. Refugees are called anathas. Even today in spoken Sinhalese we call anathayo, meaning refugees. Pinda means pidu, the portion of food, morsel of food. So, this man was so generous, so compassionate. He picked up street people, sort of in American terms, very beautiful term, street person. They don't like to call beggars. America doesn't have beggars, they all have street people. Whoever goes on the street are street people. We go on the street. But this man, Anatha, whenever somebody came in search of food, he gave food, he gave shelter. And therefore he was known as a very philanthropic, generous, kind person. Pinda means the morsel of food. Tatra ko ayasma Sariputtu bhikkhu amantesi. So at that time, tatra means there. Ko is indeclinable. Just to what is in English, you have crutch word. This is like a crutch word. To make a sentence more elegant, they use. Ayasma, venerable. The ayasma is used to address a monk in his present. And also it can be used in his absence, meaning venerable. Sariputto bhikkhu amantesi, address other bhikkhus. Auso bhikkhoti. The monks, among monks, in those days, they address each other also. Now there must have been monks in this group who even were older than Venerable Sariputra. But the word also is, just like friends. Irrespective of age, he called all of them friends. Bhikkhavo ti, here you find bhikkhavo is the noun. Ti is a quotation mark. Instead of using quotation mark, they use the word ti at the end of the sentence. Unquote. Then the bhikkhus, then he said, Avusoti, bhikkhavoti, avusoti. Again, those bhikkhus answered him. He called them bhikkhus and they called him friends. So, ayasma Sariputto, puttassa paccasosum. Asmato Sariputtasya, both are dative case. In Pali, even adjective takes the same number case, gender as the noun. Noun, whatever the noun is, its gender, its case, its number are taken to the adjective as well. So adjective has the same number, same gender, same number, gender, and case. All these three. And therefore, ayasmato, in the first, we say ayasma. We saw ayasma. Here ayasmato, meaning two ayasma. Previously we saw Sariputra, now we see Sariputassa. That is dative case. Pachasosum, this is a compound noun, verb, and should be broken into two. Pati, asosum. In return, they reply. Asosum is hearing, heard. So, even in spoken Hindi in India, sunao, our sunao in conversation, our sunao, that means you make me hear. That is actually literal meaning of pachasoso. Anyway, ayasma sariputto etadavocha. Venerable Sariputra said this. SammaDitthi also uchyati. Right view, one of right view, one of right view. Now, SammaDitthi is abstract noun. In this case, SammaDitthi repeated for a person. One of right view, one of right view. Also uchyati means say. Although translated as is said, the correct meaning is uchyati says. Because it is present, tense, singular, third person. Kittavata nuko avso sariyasavako SammaDitthi hoti. Kittavata, in what way? Nuko again, don't have particular meaning, this is just sort of indeclinable. Also, Arya Savako, this is the word I said, noble disciples. SammaDitthi hoti, becomes right view, or of right view. Ujugatas ditti dhamme aveccha prasadena samannagato. Uju means straight. When we pay respect to the Sangha, we say Ujupatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangha. Those who are heading the attainment of enlightenment, that is called going straight, Ujupatipanno. Ujugata assa, he or his or hers, so personal pronoun is used here, what you call genitive personal pronoun is used. Whose? Ditti, view, dhamme, in the Dhamma, Avecchappasadena samannagato. Avecchapasada, translated into English as unwavering. Actually, aveccha means endowed with knowledge, endowed with understanding. Aveccha. Meaning, the word aveccha comes from the root vid, to know. Vid, to know. Like Veda, Vidya, and so forth comes from the root vid, to know. So its the derivation is aveccha, past participle. And therefore endowed with knowledge, endowed with understanding. Pasada means confidence. Samannagato. Samannagati means endowed with. Aveccha means understanding. Pasada means confidence. Okay. Agato imang saddhamma. Agati means who has arrived. See, although the word is very short, it means one who has arrived at something. Imang, this, saddhammang, true dhamma. Okay. Then this bhikkhus said, friends, durato pi. Dura means distance, far away distance. Durato means from, that is ablative case. Ko again is indeed mayang vi also friend agacchayama would come. Then asmato Sariputrasa santike etasa bhasita sattang ajaneyum. Or anyatum. We came from Agato, came from Sariputra, from Venerable Sariputra. Actually, Sariputra means of Venerable Sariputra. Meaning, Venerable Sariputra's explanation. We came to hear Venerable Sariputra's explanation. But Santike etasa bhasyatas attang. Atta means meaning. Etas, these, bhasyatas, words. Of these words, meaning from Venerable Sariputra. Sariputra. Santike in front. Attang anyatum, to know from him. Then sadhuvata asmantang yena yeva sariputang patibhatu. Sadhu, 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 we say. What does it mean? Good, good, good. Sadhu. What indeed? Asmantang, Venerable Sariputang patibhatu. Patibhatu means would explain. Now, here is a seat if you like to sit down. Yeah, okay.
Well, I know it's because it's relating to a noun, but Sariputra in this line,
Sariputtam,
yeah, and Ayasmantam. What's dictating that?
very good. Ayasmantam Sariputtam is the accusative case. Venerable Sariputra.
So is it because it's it would?
Maybe wood.
Is it because it's it would?
Sariputtam
Off.
Patibhatum. Sadhu vata indeed, Ayasmantam yeva. Yeva means alone, to emphasize.
That
Yeah.
Just him.
Yeah. To make him stand out. You alone. Jeva. Okay. Etas bhasasatu Ayasmato Sariputtasya Sutta. Etas of this Bhasitasya statement, Bhasitasya. See, as I said, etasya is genitive case. Therefore, Bhasitasya is genitive case. Therefore, its adjective, etasya, also became genitive case, singular. Atto, meaning Ayasmato, from to Sariputra. Sutta. That means Ayasmato Sariputtasya. Then by Sariputra's explanation. Sutta is past participle, having heard, incomplete verb. Bhikkhu Dharisantiti. Bhikkhu Dharana means holding. Tena hauso sunata. Tena hi hauso, tena hauso. I forgot to separate he from hauso. Tena hi hauso. Should be tena hi, not tena hauso. It's my mistake. I should have put the stroke after tena hi. Okay. Now, okay. Sadhukam, well, very well. Manasi karotha. Manasi means in the mind. Karotha means keep in the mind. Bhasisami, I will or I shall say. Evang avasoti kote bhikkhu ayasmaso sariputtasya pachasosum. Evang, yes. Avasoti, friend. Ko, indeed. Te is they. Bhikkhu asmato sariputtasya, to Venerable Sar, pati asosum, replied. Asma sariputto etat avocha. Etat means this, avocha said. Now, akusala, kusala varo. Akusala kusala, akusala. Kusala, akusala. It combined together. It is actually two words. Yato, when, ko indeed, also friends, Arya Savako, noble disciples, akusalancha pajanati. Akusalancha pajanati. Pajanati means understands. Akusalancha, the unwholesome, also. Cha means and. Akusala moolancha pajanati. Moola means root. Pajanati kusalancha, the wholesome, and kusala moolancha pajanati. Now the root of kusala. Ettavata ko also, in that way, whenever friends, Arya Savako SammaDitthi Oti, the noble disciple became. Then Ujugata Saditti. Ujugata is straightened, understanding. Dhamme aveccha pasadena samannagato hoti. Agato imang we said that, okay. Khatamang pana auso akusalang. Khatamang pana indeed, pana means indeed, khatamang we mentioned earlier, akusalang, the unwholesome. Actually, kusala, akusala. Kusala means skill. Akusala means unskilled. Why something is called unskilled in this sense? Unskilled because the person does not do what he is supposed to do to get rid of suffering. That kind of activity is called unskilled. Skilled is the one who knows how to get rid of suffering. The things that one does to get rid of suffering is called skilled. That is wholesome or kusala.
Kusala in my language means healthy.
Healthy. I think in Malayalam, healthy. I think that's very good also, because one has to be perfectly healthy to be free from suffering. Healthy in mind, healthy in body. Especially when the mind is perfectly healthy, that means that person is free from suffering. All enlightened persons are healthy. All enlightened persons are healthy. They may have physical aches and pains, sickness. Aches and pains themselves are not suffering. Aches and pains continues. But due to aches and pains one would not suffer. Because the one who understands the nature of aches and pains can deal with that easily. One who get totally confused and end up in sorrow, lamentation, grief, despair, that person is not healthy. But even in spite of pain, physical pain, due to certain sicknesses, the person remains calm, relaxed, peaceful, understanding the nature of this sickness. There were arahant, enlightened persons, like the Buddha, Sariputra, Girimananda and so forth. They had sicknesses. They had lot of aches and pains. They were not distraught. They were not disturbed. Mind is clear. So, yeah, good word. Kusala. Okay. Akusala is the opposite of it. And the Khatamang, Kusalang, Khatamang, Akusala. Okay. First he explains Pānātipato ko āvuso akusalang. Adinnadanang akusalang. I will go through these words first and then I finish it. I'm getting tired. Pāna atipata. Pāna means life. Atipata means cutting off. Also akusalang. Adinna danang akusalang. Adinna means not given. Adana means taking. Dana means giving, adana means taking. Akusalam. Then Kamesu Michacharo akusalam. Kamesu in sensual pleasures. Kamesu is used in plural, not in singular. And therefore, we have to translate sensual pleasures. Micha means wrong. Right sensual pleasures is not akusala. But wrong sensual pleasures is akusala. Then musavado akusalam. Musa is lie. Vada means telling. Telling lies. Then pisuna. This is what I explained earlier. Pisuna vacha. Pisuna means divisive. Vacha means speech. Parusa is harsh. Vacha is word. Okay. Sampappalapa. Sampappalapa means blah 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 blah. Sampappalapa. Akusalam. Abhijja, covetousness, is akusalam. Vyapado, sometimes we have vyapada, sometimes vyapada. Both are correct. In Pali, Sanskrit, V and B are interchangeable consonants. V and B. In Bengal, they use B for V. Vanga became Banga. So that is called Bangla. Desa. I want to ask you an English vocabulary test, a question. In English, there is, you don't say that, you know the meaning. You just keep quiet because I have repeated it 1,000 times here. In English, there is one word where B is used in the place of V. What is that word?
In the place of B?
Instead of B, V is used.
Oh, okay.
What is that word? I give you a clue, hint. In politics. Still you do not get it. Without torturing your mind, let me give you the answer. Gubernatorial. gubernatorial. Right? Okay.
I always wondered, Bhante, I always wondered why did they use B?
Yeah, that is the problem.
Yeah, I thought it's come from governor.
Governatarian is difficult to say.
Right.
All the words in any language is formed according to our convenience of pronunciation.
Right.
Children create words. Film actors create words for the purpose of convenience, pronouncing convenience. So, all the languages are like that. So, they might find another word in future, because of new technology. They might create a new word, but so far they keep this word, gubernatorial. So vyapado. Then a micchaditthi, wrong view, akusalam. Idang uchati also akusalam. Katamacha also akusala moolang. Moola means root. Lobho akusala moolang. Lobha. Lobha means greed. Moola means root. Doso, also ill will. Moolang is root, okay. Doso in Japanese, what is doso in Japanese?
Here, there.
Huh?
Here or there.
Please.
Please.
Please. Yeah. Moho, delusion, and root is a unwholesome root. Okay. Then the opposite of that is kusala. When you remove a, what remains is kusala. Remove un, then we have wholesome. Now in this section we remove this prefix an, a, then we have wholesome. I think this is enough for today. The rest is, even if you eat very, very delicious meal, after sometimes you get tired of it. And you don't want to eat anymore.
We never get tired, Bhante.
Huh?
We never get tired from your listening to you.
So, if you have any further question,
anyone have any question? Anyone have any question?
Bhante, why Sariputra wrote akusala first, not kusala?
I think that's a good question, because it is very easy to relate to people. Because our mind is always bending towards akusala, not kusala. Always is like water. Water always looking for a lower place. If you want to bring it up, you have to use a pump. You have to make a special effort, yes?
I have a question about the wholesome and unwholesome,
Yeah?
because I'd start by all of the wholesome things are abstentions, so they're all negatives. And I know that in other suttas, there's mentions of cultivating positive character traits. And so are those positive character traits considered wholesome, or is wholesomeness just the absence of negative?
I think that's a very good question. I wanted to mention that, but I forgot. I mentioned in our previous classes. When we abstain from killing, there is a space. You fill that space with metta, loving friendliness. Similarly, when you abstain from stealing, here is space in the mind. Then you cultivate mudita, appreciative joy, instead of taking what is, and also covetousness. Instead of covetousness, cultivate mudita. When we abstain from covetousness, the space created by abstaining is filled with mudita. Mudita means appreciative joy. When you abstain from hatred, then the mind is waiting for something else to fill the gap. Then you fill it with metta. Greed, when you abstain from greed, then the space should be created by generosity, letting go, and so forth. Each negative state can be filled with positive things. For that, we have to have an effort. It does not happen naturally. Somebody can say, I don't have to do anything, I don't kill, I don't steal, I don't. No. But what do you do? You abstain from killing, stealing and so forth. Then what? Do you do anything? Then the person must do something. 4 efforts we may study later on. One effort is to prevent unwholesome things that is coming to your mind. That means abstaining. That's called Samvarapadana in Pali. Abstaining from something, to make effort you have to make. If you have not done something wrong, don't start it. If you have not done something wrong, don't start it. If you have done something wrong, that is pahana padan. If you have done something wrong, let it go. Don't do it again. If you have not done something wholesome, do it. If you have been doing wholesome, continue. These are 4 efforts. So, when we abstain from not doing wrong things, abstaining from doing wrong things, then that's okay. That's wonderful. Then fill that space with the opposite of that. Yeah.
Bhante, what is mudita?
Mudita means appreciative joy. Especially when you when you have somebody has something, we, instead of developing covetousness, we practice mudita. Mudita means we appreciate whatever that person has. It's a beautiful, most expensive car. That's very good. That's very good. That is appreciative. If you say, that is a beautiful, expensive car, how can I get that? Covetousness. So, so and so is very beautiful. So beautiful. By being covetous, can I get that beauty? I remain as ugly as I am. I cannot borrow that. So, instead of trying to do something unachievable, what the practical thing is to appreciate the beautiful person, beautiful voice, beautiful voice. That is appreciative joy.
Like for parents, it's easy for what parents have there toward their children is mudita.
They have all the four.
All four.
Yeah. Mother has metta for the unborn inside.
Someone tried to explain to me that when you can't feel sympathetic joy, if you just are seized with covetousness and craving, if you can find an opening and feel a little bit, because I know for myself, I have these strong feelings of covetousness about a lot of things. But the secret, I think, is if you can find a small opening and say, and then they said, and if I can't do it completely today, my intention is that I will try again.
I think that's true. We have to start with a little practice, very little at a time. And then we build up on it. Yeah. Have the little opening for good, noble things to build up.
But it's lots of practice. If you look at the end from the beginning, I do. Sometimes you get discouraged and think, I can't do this, I can't do this. But practice, practice, practice.
Yes. That is why we need a lot of mindfulness, a lot of patience, and a lot of understanding. Understanding, and also we become curious how so and so is successful. Achieve something. So that encourages us to strive hard to find out and then follow that path. Yeah. I was going to say something that I forgot. How can I ask you to help me to remember it? So I have to forget it.
We're talking about practicing. She's mentioning practice.
Practice, yes.
And then you mentioned
Yeah.
swinging back.
Practice makes perfect. That is what the Siddhartha Gautama Bodhisattva did. He never wanted to give up. Every time he failed, he tried again and try again and try again until he achieved what he wanted.
I think he has a question.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So what about ambiguous situations? Because I know taking life is very unwholesome, but at the same time, like if you're defending your children or some other vulnerable person and you had to take a life, I mean, how does that sort of reckon with everything? Because that's sort of something I struggle with a lot in my thoughts every day.
You are struggling of doing something wholesome?
Well, what I mean is there's sort of morally ambiguous situations, and I just mentioned the example of violence, even killing another human being, for instance.
Even killing?
Yeah, sorry.
Come closer.
Yeah, sorry. So, like, for instance, if you had to defend your children with violence and you ended up killing another human being, I mean, on one side you really can't tell a parent not to defend their children, but on the other hand, I know that it's one of the most unwholesome, unhealthy things you can do for your mind and soul. So I have a hard time reckoning that with the practices.
I think that's very common, practical. There is a practical side. This common question. On the one hand, you have your children, your wife. On the other hand, there is someone trying to destroy them, hurt them, attack them. So you have to defend. Now, your first line of defense is not killing. You first try to negotiate, talk, show your compassion, show your patience, show your mindfulness, show your understanding. When you do all this, you don't have to think of killing. The one who comes to destroy may be ill. Something may be going wrong in his mind. So you have to be more patient. And of course, if somebody comes with a gun and shoot, like killing in school, killing these days, taking gun and machine gun, nobody can do anything about it. But if you know somebody is planning to hurt your family, then you have to discuss, talk, try to understand why he wants to do this. You are asking me hypothetical question, I give you hypothetical answer. Hypothetically, if you negotiate, discuss, talk, show your compassion, trying to understand him, that will work better than anything else.
Gotcha. So do your best to avoid violence and to encourage mutual understanding and
Sure.
loving friendliness. And
Sure. I think most of you know, when we moved to this place, our neighbor was so full of hatred, even when he saw us, he would use very vulgar, racist words to insult us. We never did anything to him. He could have reported, but we never do that. Our mailbox, 5 times, mailbox was first shot and made holes. Then clubbed and smashed. Still the mailman put mail. Then he put dog's poop inside.
They really has hatred.
And finally uprooted the mailbox and threw away. He had put, this is the 5th mailbox we have. Our signboard on our land was shot, clubbed, uprooted, thrown away 5, 6 times. One time we put the sign here. The sign was, I had a very ambitious thought. I made the sign called Dhamma Village. We just bought the land, but no building, nothing, the forest. Dhamma Village. After about 6 months I came back, Dhamma Village turned out to be Damn Village. other letters are erased. They had 4 children. They asked children to use their BB guns to shoot at us. When we had a
At you
retreat,
physically?
huh?
At you?
Yeah, at us. When we have a retreat, they first shot high power rifle at night, when we are having retreat. Then they start singing songs, all racist songs. One day I was having interviews in the office room. A man came for the interview. He asked me, "Can you hear that music?" I said, "Yes." "Do you understand?" I said, "No, I don't understand." Then he began to cry. And I asked him, "Why you cry?" Because I was raised in an area where this kind of people were there. They used these songs, so I understand. He remembered. And then they sing this. The lady sang the song. Songs were so sweet, beautiful. We enjoy the songs. We don't hear them. We don't understand words. But the sound we enjoy. And then they brought a set of drums. When we have retreated, they beat the drum. They spread the news around saying that we eat their dogs.
Oh
So many things for 7 years. We never complained to. When they beat drums, other neighbors, they thought drum sound would come only here. Sound went all around. Other neighbors complained to the sheriff. Sheriff came and stopped it. Sometimes they burned firecrackers and threw on our roof in the middle of the night. Firecrackers on the roof. So many things. We never did anything, we just practiced metta. Send metta, send metta. So finally, man, they I think separated. Man went to Florida, woman stays here. 4 children grew up. One went to the army, Navy. After serving 2 years in the Navy, this man came here and apologized to us. He said, "We are very sorry. I was in the Navy, I studied Buddhism and found it to be very peaceful religion. What I did when I was young was what my father asked us to do. So now I feel very, very bad. I came to apologize." He came to apologize. See, our patience, our metta yield good harvest, good result. And now, occasionally she is there. Last whole winter we did not see her. Even now occasionally she comes and goes. No problem. So friends, this really pays off. Our patience, our mindfulness, our understanding, our tolerance, our peace really pays off. I would not worry about that. When they were doing all these things, as children were small, we went to them and asked them, in winter, very cold winter, we have dead trees, you come and cut them, use for your wood stove. Because these children need heat. We don't like the children to suffer. You come in. He came with the chainsaw, looking down, cut the tree, large amount of wood. without even looking at our face. We don't lose anything. And every neighbor, everybody in the neighborhood came to know who we are. There's a hotel here, Paper Hotel. And it's a long story, after opening the first part of the building, 3-4 people walked with me up to the end of the road. And then I said, if we walk another 15 minutes, we can see the hotel. As we were walking, I said, we are getting late for lunch. Then I said, never mind, let us go there and borrow, use their telephone to call here to ask somebody to come and pick us up. As we were approaching there, everybody touched their pocket. There was no penny with them. I said, never mind, when you go there, we can borrow their phone and we can return quarter later on. Those days there were no cell phones. As we went in, a man sitting in the porch came and, Bhante ji, and he hugged me. And I said, Mister, I want to borrow your phone. Come, you came to see the hotel? Let me show you the hotel. He showed around the hotel and said, Barney, bring the station wagon and drive these people back to Bhavana Society. People like that. They knew us, and every year when they had their dividends at the end of the year, they send us check with a beautiful note. They say, Bhante ji, your being here is a blessing to this area. You brought peace. That is the result we get now. So I brought peace. And we must bring peace wherever we go. Violence can never pay off, never. Only this short-lived pleasure they get, but there's no lasting result, lasting peace. Now, almost everybody who sees me wave to me. Sometimes one woman said, you like a ride? I said, no. Next day, I want to give you a ride. I said, no, I came to walk. So one day I was walking with my 2 grandnephews, nephew and niece. Then she said, Bhante, I bought this new car. I must give you a ride. Get in. She forced. We all had a good ride. And say, sometimes, I'm going to grocery shopping. What do you want? I said, we don't need it. No, I will buy a bunch of banana. So she would buy a big box of banana. Like that, there are many, many good people in this area now. One neighbor recently died. When he grow vegetable, he brings big box full of vegetable. He died last year. Many, many wonderful people are there. That is the message we want to give to people. Message of peace. Okay?
So